Today I'm going to walk you through one of the modules in our EcoMap Ecosystem Scorecard, a dynamic intelligence platform that tracks 9 dimensions of economic competitiveness. It's built for state economic development directors, state and city chamber executives, and other leaders who need to move beyond static reports and make data-driven decisions that strengthen their state's economic position. The problem this tool solves is one most of you are living every day. Your team is spending hours pulling data from disconnected sources, handing off spreadsheets that someone else then has to turn into something a lawmaker, a member, or a journalist can actually act on. The scorecard closes that gap. It aggregates, normalizes, and visualizes the data, and then makes it just as easy to tell the story as it is to find the insight. So today I'll walk you through the Job Growth and Worker Availability module, which is one of the modules that are available today. Let me show you how it works. This module is about workforce, who is available, where they are, and how employment trends are shifting over time. Each module opens with a summary tab. Think of this as your front door. It surfaces one key insight per submodule pulled from the most recent year of available data, so you can get a quick read on where things stand before you go deeper. Employment trends. This is where the flexibility of the tool really comes through. You have a set of filters at the top that apply to every chart on the page. You can select your primary geography, let's say Delaware, and then configure a set of peer states you want to compare against. You can toggle those on and off depending on what story you're trying to tell. You can also filter by date range. So if you only want to look at the last 5 or 10 years, you can do that. And you can filter by industry on this tab, which is useful if you're working with a specific sector or making a targeted case to a particular audience. Once you hit apply, every chart on the page updates to reflect your selections all at once. All right. One feature I want to highlight is the Generate AI Insights button. When you click that, the tool looks at the data you've configured and filtered, your geography, your peers, your date range, and your industry filters, and generates a plain language summary of what that data is showing. It's a really useful starting point for building your narrative. The second submodule is worker availability, and the filters here are a little bit different. In addition to geography and date, you can filter by demographic information. So if you want to look at labor force participation rates specifically for people with bachelor's degrees, for example, you can do that. Every chart on the page will update to reflect that specific population. Once you've found the data that tells your story, you can grab it. There's a share button on every chart that opens the visual in a new tab, with all your filters displayed down here. And you can copy the embed code here to drop it directly into your website or a blog post. The chart is live, it's interactive, and it shows your audience exactly how the data was configured. Third submodule here is labor demand. This is going to tell you kind of what is the demand for labor in the state by a few different indicators. First one here is a worker shortage index, right? We've all heard these stories about how we're in a worker shortage right now, and this kind of helps us understand that over time. We've got information about job openings, right? The number of new jobs that have become available, and then jobs added versus lost. So you can compare essentially like what's happening in terms of job growth and what's happening in terms of job loss. All right, and then fourth tab here starts in an empty state. Essentially, you select your geographies. Right, you select your time frame, let's look at the last 10 years, and then you select specific industries. So let's go with arts, entertainment, and recreation. We apply the filter, and this submodule creates a separate chart for each state. So this is a really good way to compare industries, right? Let's look at arts, entertainment, and recreation, and we'll look at retail trade, right? Those are kind of linked industries. And we hit apply filters. And so now we can kind of see, right, how does arts, entertainment, and recreation sort of match up to retail trade in the state of Delaware? And then you can see sort of the same comparison between those two industries for the other states you've selected. So that's a look at the job growth and worker availability module. Modules are available a la carte in bundles so that organizations can start with what's most relevant and expand from there. What makes this different isn't that this data hasn't existed before. Most of it comes from federal sources. What's different is that it's normalized, it's visual, it's filterable, and it's shareable. You're not handing someone a spreadsheet or a static PDF. You're giving them a live embeddable chart that tells a specific story to a specific audience. This is really a communications tool as much as it is a research tool. The goal is to get you from data to published narrative in minutes, whether that's a legislative briefing, an annual report, a member spotlight, or a press release. No exports, no reformatting, no lag between the insight and the story. If you want to go deeper on any of the modules or talk through how this would fit your specific use case, reach out to us at ecomap.tech.